first speaker, Mr. Girish V.S. is the Executive Director at ISCM and the editor of Supply Chain Management Professional, a thought leadership magazine for SCM community. Well, he focuses on supply chain risk management, strategic profitability, and technology in supply chain at ISCM. Well, he has more than 30 years of domestic and international experience. We're all excited about Logistics 4.0. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Girish V.S.
The theme for the event, Logistics 4.0, let me first express my thanks to Hiten, Captain Saab, Yogesh, for inviting me to be a keynote speaker here on this fantastic gathering that I see here. When I was asked to talk about Logistics 4.0, I said we need to first start with probably where this term originated from. I understand Logistics 4.0 as smart, connected, and agile. It actually borrows from a term which has been in usage across the developed parts of the world. They call it Industry 4.0. We still do not have any clear definition of what a Logistics 4.0 is or a Supply Chain 4.0 is. But the way I look at it, if manufacturing is going in one direction, the supply chain and the logistics has to follow in that direction. And therefore, there is no option for us. It is no more an option, it is a must-have. And when we talk about Industry 4.0, it again comes through the way in which industry has transformed, beginning with human power. Then we moved on to electric-powered assembly lines. Then we brought in a few computers and said, now we are modern. And to take it to the next level, we are seeing a convergence of technologies. What is called a cyber-physical system, where you have physical equipment as well as the internet and technology converging to create advantages that you are not thought of as possible. We all agree that Germany is one of those developed economies in the world. And Industry 4.0 is expected to give a 1% boost to its GDP per year for the next 10 years. We are talking a different paradigm of productivity. In India, we still talk about having so many resources with us, and therefore, how do we use those resources rather than looking at the productivity of the resource? And that is one key metric that going forward we will have to keep in mind. How do I improve productivity of the capital that I employ, of the labor that I employ, of the processes? And that should be the key where Industry 4.0 will drive you through a convergence of technology, multiple technologies. And when I start, I would like to define what is smart. We need to have an expectation which is not at that level there down. Smart doesn't mean a machine which can do things for itself. Smart is a machine which can improve my productivity, which can help me reach where I want. That is the smart we are talking about. And when we look at this whole Industry 4.0, there are multiple technologies which are converging, and you have today robots working alongside humans in assembly lines. Earlier, the robot always used to be in a cage and the humans has to work a little bit away, but today that distance is going away. Robots are going to work next to you or probably replace a lot of human workers. Simulation. something that is going to come up in a big way. For example, for people who want to set up your supply routes, how nice would it be if you could simulate your supply routes and see what kind of problems you could have en route? How could I, for example, simulate how my warehouse will look like even before I start building it? There again, warehouse is not something that's four walls, a floor, and a ceiling. A warehouse is normally built for a purpose. And if it is going to be built for a purpose, how do I see how that purpose would be? Will it suit me? Simulation helps you there. The biggest change is going to come in the horizontal and vertical integration. When we talk of vertical integration, across the firm, how do I integrate? Not just in one place, manufacturing is going to get distributed. It is not going to be a single place of manufacture where all of us going to bring material there. We are going to see a distributed manufacturing happening. Horizontally and vertically, we need to collaborate. We are not sure who is going to develop which part for us where. Novire, for example, would be an integral part of your supply chain and logistics data collection efforts. But the innovations that they do need to get integrated with the innovations that you are doing in your firm. So therefore, you need to have a collaboration which just goes beyond a classic vendor-customer relationship. You are no more a customer-vendor, but you are more collaborative in your efforts. Everyone that you're going to go forward, we are going to see more collaboration coming up rather than a customer-vendor kind of relationship. That vendor-managed relationship or customer relationship management is going to change in the way we go forward. Things that are going to come up a lot more interesting are in terms of cyber security. Yesterday I was reading about a toothbrush which is going to send the data about how many times you have brushed and how long you have brushed to your insurance firm, and the insurance firm is going to charge your insurance based on that. To take it a little forward, today we have a GPS in almost all trucks. We have Internet of Things coming up into trucks. What if insurance companies collect this information and determine your premium based on how the truck driver drives? The day is not far off. We will come to that very, very quickly. That kind of data, when it comes in, there is going to be a huge issue in terms of what can be allowed. I'm sure none of us would allow the driving behavior to be passed on to the insurance companies the least bit. I hope there are no insurance firms here. So, we don't want that data to be published. How do I ensure the privacy of that data? How do I ensure security of my data? Things that are going to get a little bit more complicated. Then we have the 3D printing and augmented reality. And the biggest surprise of all is going to be big data and analytics, which there are far more qualified people than me to comment on. The only thing that I would like to leave you on big data is that it all starts with the business decision you want to make. It doesn't matter what technology is. It doesn't matter what the database is. It doesn't matter what that algorithm is. It has to start with what do you want to take, what decisions do you want to take. It flows from that. If you're clear in what is the application of the business, big data will help you. If not, it's going to be one more buzzword for you. But please be clear of what is it that you want to do, but you will need to get there. What do I see as shaping trends in the supply chain in the future? We are going to move away from cost reduction. I'm sure every supply chain head here would always have one eye on cost when he tries to negotiate. In fact, I've been told that most of our negotiation, 90% of the time is cost and 10% with functionality or what is expected to be delivered. I think we need to turn that around. We need to move away from cost to align cost to revenue. If the revenue is there, the cost can be incurred. It is no more a cost. It is not based on cost. Your decisions cannot be based on cost alone. We are moving away from an economic batch size to smaller batch sizes because your customers are moving away from where you are. We are moving to a customer market of one. Every product to be customized, personalized to the way I want it. I keep saying this. M&M is a very popular, it's like gems out in the US. There is a possibility for you to customize the M&M. You can have your child's photo on each M&M if you want to give a return gift, if you want to have a birthday party of your child. Your customization is going to come to that level, and if it is going to come to that level, your batch sizes are going to reduce. If your batch sizes reduce, you know what it means as supply chain and logistics professionals. We are going to move away from relationship management to customer managed relationship. The power is going to pass on to your customer, not to you. And therefore, you need to behave differently when you start talking about customer managed relationships. Silos to collaboration, we did speak about. We are going to move away from agile to leveraging resources in real time. It is not possible for me to look at a customer demand and then gear up to how I can meet the demand. Today we are talking about, and that's what we talk about as endcasting. We don't forecast anymore, we need to do endcasting. Essentially, I need to sense demand before the demand happens, tailor my processes and get the product out there to meet that customer demand. If I don't have it there, somebody else will have it and I lose revenue there. And therefore, the way I see tech, and all this is possible because of the way technology convergences are happening within this country. The way technology is converging, we are already talking about social media, and one place where a lot of us need to spend a lot more time understanding the nuances of what can I do in social media. Today, for most of us, everything that we do, we first put it onto social media before we do it in our lives. That becomes an advanced warning for you in terms of where customer demand is moving. Few other trends that might emerge: crowdsourced logistics platforms which will allow you to, it will free you from having to have those one-to-one cozy relationships and get you to use resources much more flexibly in real time, and also to look at a trend which is going to emerge, which is far more interesting that I would see, is omni-channel retailing. And when omni-channel retailing comes in, can I fulfill an omni-channel through my existing distribution center? Can my existing distribution center cater to my needs for in-store, for online, and through the multiple channels which I will then want to do it? We need to look at our supply chains a little bit more carefully when it comes to omni-channel retailing. However, what will not change is the business model of meeting your supply to demand. That's going to be, and all of these are going to be a constant for you. You still will be in the game of cost containment. I am not talking about cost reduction, I am talking cost containment. We are all going to be talking visibility a few years down the line. We are going to be more focused on risk and customer volatility. Customer today doesn't want, it is a very unpredictable entity out there. And for even corporates there, the way forward is not going to be knowing your customer, but a deeper understanding of your customer's business and your customer's customer. Unless you understand the customer's customer, you're not going to understand the business drivers of your customer. Your customer has a pain point, that pain point arises from his customer. And for you to be able to intelligently address the customer's pain point, you also need to understand your customer's customer. Therefore, the entire customer volatility and what customer wants is going to be much more focused on discussions going forward. And I know for a fact that the financial services industry has gone ahead with this, and there we talk about knowing your customer's business. So we have gone 2 levels down the line there. That will come into supply chains as well. That will come into manufacturing as well. And therefore, globalization is again a question mark. Today we are having a rise of neoconservatism where people want to pull back manufacturing into their own countries. How will this affect supply chains in the future is something that we will discuss at some later point. But you need to be aware that the entire phenomenon of globalization is at a very delicate point of tipping point. The way it shapes forward will have a huge implication on how our supply chains going forward will be shaped, leading to an emergence of new value chains. Horizontal, vertical. Who will do my product development? I am not very sure. For example, what do I manufacture? I am no more sure. Rolls-Royce doesn't sell any more of its engines. The aircraft engines are not sold by Rolls-Royce. What they sell is flying hours. Because an aircraft engine makes money only if it is flying. The moment it is grounded, it doesn't make money. Rolls-Royce is only charging you per flying hour kilometers, they have called it. They charge you for that. So going forward, what is going to be that we are selling? Are we going to sell the commoditized products we have today? Or is it going to be something different? And if it is not going to be that product, how do we manufacture, how do we deal with that supply chain? It's going to be a big question. What is made and what is a service? And this will redefine the way we look at supply chains. One of the defining aspects of supply chain that going forward we will see, because of this the movement from, for example, in MIT there's a research which is called as 4D printing. Essentially what we are talking about is that, let's take a simple thing as a chair or a table. The whole thing comes as a flat piece. You bring it to your place, you give it an energy, it takes the shape of a table. After some time you are bored with the table, you give it a little bit more energy, the table reshapes itself to another shape. Still a table, but it reshapes itself. We are going to see the way things are changing. Technology is going to make a huge difference in the way things are going to get manufactured and done. When this happens, supply chains need to get smart. We are going to an era where the inventory will count itself. Today we have drones counting inventory. In Amazon's warehouses, you have drones moving up and down, taking a physical inventory count. But with the Internet of Things, we will be able to have an inventory which counts itself. Containers which will detect what is inside it. And it will also tell you, hey, I am in the wrong place. I should be in some other place. Technology is going to help you do that. And the technology that's helping you do that is already here. It's also interconnected. No more will you have to wait for a breakdown for you to know that there is something going wrong. Your trucks will tell you that there is a wear and tear happening in so-and-so part. And it will schedule a repair. It will order the parts from the parts store. It will coordinate with the service engineer, and you don't have to do that. The parts do it by themselves. That technology is here today. But how many of us will use it? Because a lot of us will feel that push the truck till it breaks down, and then we will try and see if we can fix it. That has to change. That is how Logistics 4.0 will evolve. Logistics 4.0 will be less about movement of goods and more about information and the use of that information. You are going to have, last count people said 50 billion devices will be transmitting information all across the place. What do I do with that information? We need to start thinking today about how are we going to use information, what are the kind of decisions that we need to make with that information. There's a huge amount of information that's going to come your way. So far we were all saying we do not have the information to make a decision. Tomorrow you will be crying we have too much of information, we still do not know where we are. And which is where you need to trust a partner. You and I are not the best people when it comes to making information talk. We will have professionals who will make that information talk, and what we should be focused on as business leaders is not what is the technology, what is the platform, what is the instrument, more on can I make this decision? For making this decision, what can you give me? What is the help that technology can provide in getting this decision out from me? How can you aid me in my decision-making process? That should be the core through which Logistics 4.0 will drive. Because Logistics 4.0 moves beyond the physical transport of goods to an information networked world where that information is going to set us apart. Those who have that information will definitely get the benefits in terms of lower costs, will be getting it in terms of the amount of time, managerial attention that they spend today. 90% of your time as managers today, if you keep your, if you're honest to yourself, is in chasing. Follow-ups. You don't follow up, how many times will it get done? right? All of us follow up for everything. The truck has not reached, the driver has not come, the cleaner has not come, there is no oil there. Everything is a follow-up for us. When do we really make decisions? When do we really take the decisions that matter to us as leaders of supply chain? Is it not time for us to move out of that rut we are in, where we are going to take follow-up things and say that, let me orchestrate my supply chain, the flow of men, material, goods, to reach the end customer's requirement? Because again, a trend which is seen in manufacturing is your business as usual goes to your supply chain. The business as usual goes to supply chain. Marketing will be more interested in how do I leverage business and take it to the next level. If you are going to be the people responsible for business as usual, our conversations need to be different. Our conversations need to be about how do I take decisions about reaching a product to a customer in time. It's going to be about how am I going to know what is it that the customer wants. It's going to be about not only cost. It is going to be about productivity. What are the kind of metrics I need to generate? What are the kind of KPIs need to put in place? And my conversations with my logistics service providers cannot be again on terms of cost. We need to get away from that cost consciousness to more efficiency consciousness, productivity consciousness. If we are not there, we are dead. Today we have a golden opportunity. Why do you think China became such a beautiful place for the whole world to manufacture? Look at their capital productivity, look at their labor productivity. They are one of the most productive users of capital, labor, men, machine. If we do not do that, if India does not do that, Make in India will be a dream. Make in India will never take off. Manufacturing and India can only stand if and only if it raises our productivity. And productivity doesn't come about by throwing people into the system. Productivity comes up by having better people doing the same job more efficiently. And that is the core going to be your problem. You cannot reach where you want to. You cannot upgrade your systems without upgrading your people. Spend a lot of time on your people. And this will be the last. Thank you very much.